Yo, YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy, Salvation's Elite. We are back with another video, guys. And man, oh man, dude, CWL Vegas was redonkulous, ridiculous, crazy, wild.
We get the point.
Yeah, you're probably right, okay? But nonetheless, Vegas was absolutely insane. I mean, nobody could have really asked for more than that for a first event of the year. It was absolutely sick. It was in the Hard Rock Hotel in Vegas, which was an awesome venue. So there was 3 rooms this time. Normally it's all in one big convention center room, but this time the open bracket was in its own room. The feature stations and all that area was in its own room, and the main stage had its own room. And when I mean room, I mean like a hall, like a massive room. How about I just show you instead of tell you about it? All right, here we go.
Make it 20. This School Street train is down, and TJ. He goes home. We're going to see an absolute massacre.
Where's the knockdown here in the making the way forward? Found a few points. Looney in from behind. He's going to find one. Can they find any more? A matter of seconds now. 10 points for the win. Fast to pull this one back. Looney trying to make the play from behind. In from the front. He's going to get shot. Grim's going to get it done.
Oh my goodness. Did he go down? It's set in 2:47 apiece. Who's going to get it? The time to take the shot 20 seconds.
Yeah, that was right when Optic had that comeback on Seaside versus Splice, which was just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, awesome to be there. I was excited to, be able to watch that. But before we talk about it, I just wanted to say that, okay, so a month from tomorrow, on January 12th, which is a Saturday, second Saturday of January, I'm planning on still doing the community tournament that weekend. It's going to be on PS4. I'm sorry, you Xbox guys. I know, that's my bad. I would love to do an Xbox tourney, but I want to be able to cast it, so PS4 is what's got to be on. Basically, I'll put out a video about it this weekend to tell you guys, what's going on with that, and to get all the details and how to enter and how to do all that. And as well, there's going to be a Learn from the Pros video before that, so either probably Thursday or Friday, there will be a Learn from the Pros video out, which obviously, I want to know what you guys have to say about that. Which map do you guys want me to do? That's the biggest question. I usually prefer doing it from a team that, won the tournament or something like that because, they were playing the best, obviously. So, this intro was way too long. I'm sorry for the long intro. I know a lot of you guys complain, and there will be some hero down in the comments with that little timestamp. With that said, let's hop right in the video. I mean, there are so many storylines coming off the tournament and a lot to talk about, but obviously everyone's talking about Optic, and there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Optic, and I don't want this video to be like 20 minutes long. I want to keep it short enough where you guys can, intake that whole thing, this whole thing. I'm gonna flex on you guys just a little bit here, but my predictions from our last video were pretty decent. Going, looking back into the event, Optic won, which is what I said. If I had to put my money on a team, I said I'd bet on Optic. I said EU was going to be one of the 3 best teams. I said FaZe would be one of the biggest disappointments, and they were. So, not too bad. I was wrong on a few things, though, and that was definitely when it came to Splice. Totally wrong about Splice. They are one of the biggest surprises to me this tournament, if not the biggest surprise. And I put out a little community poll to poll you guys about that because, to be like I said, Splice was just so surprisingly good to me. I thought their chemistry just wasn't going to be there in a tournament situation. When you got Temp on your team and you got those egos on your team like they do, Looney and Jerd probably were able to bring it back to center and kind of be the core of that team that they really needed. And Accuracy, Temp, Aqua, they were able to do their thing. They all played really well, and I was so surprised at how great they were. Maybe we're all underestimating Looney just a little bit, man. He's been really good to start off the year, and that is one thing to talk about, that a handful of these guys have been really good at the starts of the year in the past. So we'll see if they're able to keep that up at the beginning. Maybe they're just really good at learning the game early on, and then they're not able to maintain that. So again, there's a lot of qualifiers when it comes to that first tournament of the year for deciding who really is the best team and whatnot. And the other team that I was wrong about was LG. I thought they weren't going to be good, and they proved to be a lot better than I think a lot of people thought, and a lot better than what I thought. And I mean, when you got a guy like Gunless and you got Formal, you got the slaying power that they have, and just the veteran leadership in general, I shouldn't have doubted them. But in those 2Ks, man, they just didn't look good. But they proved me wrong. They played pretty well. They got 4th. It wasn't a horribly disappointing showing for Luminosity like I thought it might be. But it's about time to talk about Optic Gaming because, I mean, they won the tournament. Spoiler, I know. They won the tournament. And the Dynasty is back? I mean, hey, rip Formal because obviously Formal had a great tournament. Optic is back, man, and they're going to be one of the best teams for the upcoming month and a half leading into the qualifiers for Pro League, and they've secured their spot. That was something I forgot to mention. The top 4 teams of this tournament secured their spot for the Pro League. Like we said, this year there isn't 2 seasons, there's only 1 season. So for the teams, securing their spot in the Pro League is beyond huge. It's massive, and good for them to be able to do that. What everyone is talking about, not just Optic Gaming, but Dashy, man. Dashy won the MVP of the tournament. He was an absolute monster, like literal monster. I mean, this was something that we talked about a lot after Champs last year, was how good is Dashy. That was a big talking point right after Champs last year because he dominated in COD Champs, and we all wanted to know, you know, is he going to be the real deal? And we all knew that going into the offseason, he was going to be the focal point of roster mania because a lot of teams were, you know, so interested in Dashy's abilities. And last year on Complexity, I mean, he was an absolute monster. He slayed everybody the whole year. And this was a tweet that JP Krez put out. Shout out to JP. He's a beast with MLG. You don't hear about him a lot, but when you do, he puts out some banger stats. So I recommend following him on Twitter to get those stats. But to put this into perspective, how good Dashy was last year. Okay, so as a main AR, he was the number 3 respawn KD. The number 1 respawn slayer, the number 4 hardpoint KD, the number 4 hardpoint rotational KD, the number 1 SND KD, the number 4 SND first blood percentage, and the number 1 SND first blood activity rating, which is basically your first blood percentage minus your first death percentage. So how often are you able to get the first kill without dying first as well? So he was an absolute monster last year for Complexity, and a lot of people wrote it off because they thought that, oh, well, you know, Censor's just feeding him. You know, Complexity's just feeding Dashy. That's why he's been killing it. He's a good player, but he's not one of the best players. And now on a new game, on a new team with a new environment, Dashy does it again and plays his best tournament ever. He was unbelievable. He had a 2.17 KD, a 2.17 KD in Search and Destroy. Like, are you kidding me? That's what Optic brought Dashy and TJ on to do, was to U-turn their S&D game, and it definitely worked. Optic was the number 1 S&D KD in the tournament. I mean, their whole team had a good tournament when it came to S&D, really. TJ was 11th in KD, Krim was 12th, and Scump was 14th. Karma was right down there around a 1 KD, so he still had a decent tournament as well. And I mean, Karma's always been the brains of the Optic operation, you know, and he's the brains behind the missions, and the other 4 other guys are the hitmen that go do the dirty work. But at the end of the day, man, Optic is, I think they're the real deal. Dashy is the real deal. And if he keeps this up going throughout the year, there's no limit. The sky is the limit, you know, classic sayings for Dashy this season. And he could, you know, he could do whatever he wants this year, potentially have one of the best seasons of all time.
Yo, you're riding Optic.
I'm just being reasonable here. Optic is really good. Scump is back. He had a great tournament again. One of the best, you know, respawn KDs in the game. Dominated in Control, even with Crash, which was interesting, which I think we'll probably talk about in a future video with Specialists, is Crash actually had the lowest KD across the board at the tournament. Scump actually had the highest Control KD at the tournament while playing Crash, who Crash had the lowest KD at the tournament overall. So Scump had a fantastic tournament. He's really good at what he does, and we all knew that. And I'm sure he's only going to get better as he keeps getting back into the rhythm of Call of Duty and things like that. And Optic is going to be a threat this whole year. I've talked way too much about Optic Gaming, and everyone's going to be pissed that I'm riding Optic, but they won the tournament. There's a lot to talk about with Optic Gaming. And there's a lot of you fans out there, a lot of you loyal Green Wall fans out there that want to hear this. I mean, it is worth mentioning that Control is going to be the X factor moving forward. It's going to evolve as a game mode as teams get used to playing it. And back in the day when Hardpoint was first played, people didn't know how to play it. They had no idea that anchoring was really a thing or like anything like that. So, I mean, coming back now into Control, there's going to be a lot of new strategies coming into Control in the next few months, leading into the next few tournaments, seasons, into the CWL, into the World League, into the upcoming tournaments. So, I mean, it's hard to know how that's going to play out. Will teams be able to keep evolving with the game mode and innovating the game mode? And will there be new teams that start dominating that game mode? Who knows? What we did learn is that baiting and trading is just so important in Control. I mean, we kind of all knew that already, but playing your life obviously is the utmost importance. and being sneaky, playing those flanks, getting the easy kills without being traded out is the key to control, getting an early lead and bunkering down on defense. And so it'll be interesting to see if, like, in the future teams start doing different strategies, even just giving up bomb sites, or honestly maybe even just team killing at the end on offense if you just think the defense is just going to rout you and get streaks, because we've seen how dominant streaks are just because of how spawns work in Control. You always know where they're coming from, and it just makes streaks so dominant. Same with specialists, and I think specialists are something that are going to have to be addressed at some point in competitive, because right now they are unbelievably dominant. I mean, and everyone's highlighting the Tempest right now, which did just get nerfed in the update today. It went from 14 shots down to 10 shots, which is good because it was unbelievably dominant. We just saw that Dashy highlighted that in the finals and the semifinals. Yeah, there was just a lot of teams at the end of the day that really surprised me, and I guess we can go through some of the biggest surprises, some of the best surprises, that teams that were good. Again, were Splice, LG, Lightning Pandas. Man, those three teams really surprised me. I just didn't expect, like I said earlier, Splice or LG to be great. Lightning Pandas, I don't think anyone expected them to do what they did and be as successful as they did. They ended up finishing 5th, 6th, which for them was a really great placement. At the end of the day, Alex and Dave had really good tournaments. Alex had the 4th best S&D KD and the 8th best respawn KD, so he was dominating all tournament long. Dave had a really good tournament as well, and they were the 2nd best team in Search and Destroy the KD wise, behind Optic Gaming. So a lot going for Lightning Pandas, and they're going to be the team that I'm going to probably be watching the most closely moving forward to see if they're going to be like a team that falls off and falls behind the meta, or maybe they're just, you know, finding their groove and they're going to be a good team moving forward. Hard to say, but they're going to be one I'm definitely watching. Evil Geniuses, I mean, they didn't have like an amazing showing. They were 7th, 8th, but a lot of people had them outside of the top 12 at least going into this event, if not even farther down the list. They surprised a lot of players as well, and it was good to see. I like a lot of those guys on that team. I think they're cool guys, so good for them. The honorable mention for this group would have been EU. I'm just listing the teams that did well, basically, but I think a lot of people were doubting EU as a team, and they showed up. JCap showed his leadership ability again, and their young guns are good, and Arcides is a beast, man. Arcides is the real deal. I mean, we knew that was the case in World War II. He was just really good, and he is really good again this year, and he is a slower paced player, which allows him to have those nice KDs and those nice stats. But I mean, in Search and Destroy, he's so valuable, and he plays life, he plays those kills, and he's so good at that, at getting a 1-up on the teams, especially in Control as well. And I mean, EU should be a team that's going to be right near the top every event the rest of the season, and I don't expect anything different from EU moving forward. This video is already going a little bit long, but some of the teams that really flopped, that a lot of people were really surprised about, that were basically bust for this tournament, were 100 Thieves, FaZe, Red Reserve, and even kind of Envy. I mean, considering they are defending champs and all, you know, you'd expect a little bit more from them. But yeah, I think 100 Thieves and FaZe really highlighted that. I mean, even Red Reserve, though, a lot of people had Red Reserve as a dark horse to win the tournament. And 100 Thieves, man, it's hard to even explain what happened with them, because the individual talent on that team is obviously there. They're lacking something right now as a team, as a squad, but I think it's probably a little bit with their pace of play. Their pacing's still a little off. They might end up having to make a roster change at some point with dropping one of the ARs for a sub, considering with how dominant the subs are in this game, how dominant the Maddox is and the Sogs are in this game right now. And that'll be interesting to see what the meta changes in the future. Maybe there's a meta change before Season 2, and maybe that helps save their roster, change their roster in some way or not. I don't know. Yeah, FaZe, again, same thing. I don't know how that roster is going to play out. I still think that they can work things out. I mean, they're young guys. They have a lot to work out still, and I trust that they can probably rebound. Red Reserve, again, I just don't know what happened to them. I didn't get to watch enough of Red Reserve, to be honest, at this point, to really have a good opinion on Red in general. I think we're gonna have to see a little bit more from Red before we make a decision, but I am a little bit worried about this roster, if they're gonna stay together or not moving forward. So overall, guys, if you guys made it through this gauntlet of a video, I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate all the support, and seeing all the support around the channel's been awesome. I haven't been posting much these last few weeks. The classic I've been busy defense with Thanksgiving and the tournament and everything, but Christmas break's on the way. I'm heading home this weekend, so I should have time to be able to make some fire content, which I hope is fire. But with that said, guys, If you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Share the video if you guys really enjoy it. I really do appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. And I say it all the time, but it really, really does. But with that said, guys, as always, I'm your boy Salvation Fleet, and we will see you next time.
Mantle up onto the little ledge there. He's a 2v1 in the zone, and he's dipping out. Velev with the two-piece on both players inside of A. Nice shots there from Hoyt, looking for the two-piece, but he just dips out on the kill. He turns around, and Arnold purifies him.